Key Difference Media presents Mobius Key. Takeaway close.
"What do you think of our fair city?"
Morris asked as they sat in his sixth-floor office in downtown Geneva, Switzerland. The Edinburgh native appeared proud of his adopted home. Aaliyah stared out the beveled picture window at the end of Loch Lomond.
"Lovely as ever," she replied. "You have an incomparable view."
"Aye, we're fortunate. Ye've visited Geneva before?"
She nodded.
"I have an aunt in Cherbourg."
"Ah, bonny area."
Morris nodded in appreciation.
"Will ye be paying her a visit?"
"No, unfortunately not this trip. After my appointment at Lodge Suisse this afternoon, I fly to Paris to meet with the CEO of Seguier."
The set of his jaw hardened.
"Ah, pity."
Aaliyah settled back to take his measure. Straightforward, not one to dissemble, she mused.
"So, tell me, Mr. Morris, what motivated your application to the Moby Executive Retreat Program?"
His expression softened.
"Curiosity, plain and simple. Never been on a sub, and I've read that the Moby offers quite a singular experience."
She nodded.
"So it does, but you must have had other motivations as well."
"Of course."
He leaned forward, as if in confidence.
"When we relocated here last year, we encountered a cash flow issue right off. Recovery has been slow."
His brows grew together in a bleak expression.
"I'm hoping this retreat will help. Give me some new insight."
After leading him gently into a discussion of his aspirations for his company, she handed him the Helix drive from her briefcase.
"May I show you some visuals from journeys we've done?"
He slid it into his player.
"These are 3D images of the Moby,"
she explained. On the screen, wide wings propelled a manta-shaped ship through the water. His expression was rapt.
"Such grace! Hard to believe it's a submarine, except it's so bloody huge."
He looked at her.
"Why the manta shape?"
"We took a lesson from nature. The manta design allows super-efficient movement, rapid acceleration and deceleration, and quick turns. Here, watch this,"
she said as a lighted tube emerged from the sub's underside.
"Like a pod in search of footin',"
he observed.
"That's the observation snorkel,"
Aaliyah explained.
"Whose safe is it?"
"Good question. Only the captain can order it lowered, because although those glass walls are the strongest part of the sub, extending the tube leaves us all vulnerable."
She drew his attention back to the screen.
"Look, now we're diving, filming from inside the snorkel. As you see, we have an unrestricted 360-degree view as we approach the ocean bottom," she pointed. "See those strange shapes waving around? Giant amoebas."
His jaw dropped in disbelief.
"How do they survive? Water pressure must be pure dead tremendous."
"In some places in the Marianas Trench, it's 1,000 times our atmospheric pressure, and the water is freezing, but life finds a way."
"Makes my problems look small,"
he said, twisting his lips in a wry grin. She chuckled.
"Okay, this footage here was shot not far off the bottom, near Australia."
A colossal squid appeared, eyes as big as dinner plates.
"Oh, he's bloody amazing. Just sitting there taking us in. No fear at all."
Morris sat back in his chair.
"Well, with 8 arms and 2 long tentacles, who wouldn't be fearless?"
Aaliyah noted that he'd used a pronoun that included him in the tube.
"I've heard they sometimes attack small whales," she said, watching him closely. "I don't know whether that's true, but wouldn't you love to see one close up like that, in its natural home?"
"An experience one wouldn't soon forget."
In a flash, the ship lurched 40 feet to starboard. He pitched forward, grabbed the arm of his chair.
"What's up with that?"
"Evasive maneuver to avoid attack."
"I'll be,"
Morris panted.
I've seen mantas move like that, but this sub is what, 50 times bigger? A move like that must throw ye to the floor. I felt it.
The Moby passengers didn't feel a thing.
She paused to let that sink in.
That's the thing about adventure. When you realize anything could happen, it forces you to let go. And the more you let go, the easier it is to roll with the punches.
His brow wrinkled as he waited for her to drive her point home.
Often when you're stuck, it's because you're hanging on too tight.
The silence was deafening.
We only have space for one of you. You, Lodge Suisse, or Seguier,
she said at last as Morris closed his mouth and stared into space. She resisted the urge to press him. After a long moment, he rapped the tip of his pen against the top of his desk.
Then let's do it, he said. I've tried everything else. I've got to see where this takes me.
Smart decision.
He tilted his head in a sideways smile.
So, now you can cancel your appointments and go visit your aunt.
No, I can't. Sorry, but you're likely to be forced to compete with your rivals for this spot.
Extending her hand, she flashed an encouraging smile.
Off the record,
she said as they shook,
I hope you win.
You were listening to Mobius Key. Discover this ongoing story of the Mobius Key at mobiuskey.com. This story is sponsored by www.keydifferencemedia.com.